Feature Friday.
The freshest.
Oh, I love this guy. And we haven't seen, much of this sort of live Facebook thing that he did, but one of the songs that you guys recommended a lot was called Channa Mereya. And
Channa Mereya.
You also recommended to check out this and also the original version. So let's start with this one, as it's the one that got requested the most. And I'm really interested in this environment for him. I've heard some songs from this before. But yeah, I just love listening to this guy sing, especially in this environment. It's amazing. So let's give it a watch. It was like a charity stream.
Yeah.
During the tough times of, I think last year, was this last year or this year?
Yeah, I think this happened in June.
You guys were explaining as well that he hasn't been as active.
It's wonderful quality.
Fuck, dude! It's unbelievable. I fucking love this guy. It's outrageous how he's able to encapsulate that stuff every single time he performs. That bloody magic he's got going on. There's something going on with him. Genuinely. I genuinely believe so. That there's something going on, especially with him, and the kind of resonance he's able to produce, the frequency he's able to hit all the time, and the compositions in which he's part of. They all have this bloody effect that no other music from other parts of the world, and I can say at least now with confidence this year, we have genuinely tried to look and find and discover and enjoy music from other parts of the world. And I think we've built somewhat of a resume in terms of listening to music from worldwide music. And there's just something about this geezer. Something special, like it's so odd. And again, I think I've heard this year a lot of special singers, lots of them. He's truly unique in that aspect, that I think he's on a league on his own when it comes to that. Perhaps technically him, I don't know, or perhaps guitar-wise, is he doing the craziest thing in the guitar? I don't fucking know. I know a bit of guitar, I guess, and it's not very complicated what he's doing. But that's not what music is about. Technical complexity doesn't doesn't necessarily translate into quality music. Mm-hmm. Right? And because music is much more than technicalities, I guess laws and rudiments and rules. It's much more than that. Music begins with how humans begin to communicate, through feelings. Not through language, but through feelings. And that's where music originates to me. And I think that's why he's able to tap every goddamn time. Excuse me, I do want to check out the lyrics of this, but at the end. Any thoughts?
No, I think I'm trying to process what I'm receiving at the moment. It's a lot.
I'm actually glad. People mentioned that maybe, I don't know if you've read it or maybe not, but people mentioned that they enjoyed the previous video where you sort of got a bit technical and you showed the diagrams and stuff. So
thanks. I appreciate your appreciation.
Yeah, and I'm still learning and all that stuff, but I think it's the same for me. It's like, because Bale always says to me, it's like, because sometimes people say messages like those, like, and they kind of expect you to perhaps explain all things in all manners, and obviously to be correct and all that stuff, and I think,
try my best.
And I think most times you are, and I think actually probably every fucking time, but what you say to me, and perhaps it's best if it comes from my mouth, it's the fact that you kind of take this as you're also learning as you watch this stuff.
Absolutely.
as well.
I'm constantly learning. I don't think I'm settled with anything yet, because whenever I think I have the understanding or grasp a concept, something completely brand new comes into the table and derails everything that I just learned. So I try to keep as much of an open-minded when it comes to understanding technique and ways of singing, because at the end of the day it's a human form of expression, so it's something very abstract, and I've come to the conclusion that there's no wrong or right way of doing it. there's just a healthy and an unhealthy way. Therefore, I try to see everything that comes in an open-minded way, and try and whatever I don't understand, taking all of your information, try to do a little bit of research in my own time, just to see where I can place myself
Expand your vision, yeah.
in the vision. So in this particular case with Arijit, I think his singing mannerisms and his vocal technique are very standard, are very to something I'm accustomed to. So vocally speaking, there's
closer
nothing,
to textbook thing.
yeah, there's nothing here that I hadn't seen before. But what I find fascinating, borderline magical about him is that he is so aligned with this thing, with this
meaning of the pieces.
I know, and
the muse. It's like the muse speaks through him as he sings.
That's right. There's like ethereal, physical being that communicates through him, and I think he becomes like a vessel of the music. It's not that he's singing somebody else's composition. It's not that he's singing his own songs. No, it's that he becomes them.
Yeah.
And that has not been written in any type of science way
book
ever. That no one can really put that and explain that as a science. There's just an entity, the X factor, the extra spice to the performance. But for and a lot of people think it it's the environment, is where you are, it's who you're singing to, it's the response of the audience or whatever. But I personally think it's him. In his case, he is the magic.
One of those people that is like, maybe for him it was hard at the time to even understand like that, because maybe things at the beginning weren't going so well. Perhaps they were. I don't know his story very well. But maybe when things are going very well, it's very hard to know that I was born to sing. But then when things kind of align, that's one of those individuals that I was like, did you look at and you think, fuck, it's just sometimes people just align stars for themselves and they become the thing that they were born to do.
That's right. And even if you talk to them about it, it's like they're two different people.
Yeah.
Because you'll see them talking, you see them giving interviews, and you see this man. You see a man, right? You see a human. And there's complete logic behind the madness, right? But when you see them perform, it's like a completely brand new essence.
Interesting. I wonder what he would think of that. Like, if he feels like he also transforms, or if he feels like he touches something, he lets whatever inspires him simply be a vessel of that, rather than him trying to access it.
I truly believe that in singing, the vulnerability aspect of it is such a tender concept that a lot of singers don't really tap into, because it's such a breaking point for the singer, and it's a very iffy place to sing from. But
you might end up crying.
Yeah, but in this case, for example, in this live stream, he was in a very emotional place, right? So he is, I would think, in the most tender, most vulnerable in his personal life. He's home, barefooted, in a place of mental respect and mourning. I think a lot of that weight needs to be acknowledged in order to sing
and then he
the way that he's singing.
And then it gets transferred properly into the piece.
That's right.
Interesting, go on.
Yeah. But it takes a lot of thought process.
Also, the language seems to matter.
Poetry is a huge deal. It's so intertwined to music.
Channa Mereya
It definitely matters. That's a variable that I don't think perhaps we give it enough validity. That, of course, the artist, I mean, in this case Arijit, and then the composition itself, the chords, the musical structure, that it's all strategically made to create this effect, this emotionally packed song. But I think genuinely the language itself, and sometimes when you listen to music from other parts of the world, you would also agree that specific languages have specific natural attributes to them. And I think it's very hard for me to guess sometimes when we listen to music from the indie music industry, because there are different languages in India, and geography, you know, the north, the south, the west, the east seems to have different predominances. So, but what India as a whole, whatever how many fucking languages there's, because quite a few,
Yeah, that's a lot.
they all possess that. And in alternative indie rock or alternative ballads, they all fucking sound wonderful. Like the South sounds amazing, dude.
Yeah, they really do have
Like South
that
Indian,
down.
when we heard those bands, mental. Arijit, I think he's from the north. Insane. I think he's northwest, something like that. Maybe closer to the capital.
Okay.
Let me double check. But again, I mean, that would be a huge generalization. Just because you're one from a specific area doesn't mean you specifically speak that. But I guess that's a way to simplify.
I think what you're trying to say here, it's more about how in the Indian music industry, in the things that we have been exposed to so far, the lyricism, melody, and work of body of work when it comes to music, it's really intertwined. There's no two definite sections of a song. There's just music as a whole, and poetry is a huge part of that. And sometimes it works like a sonnet, so and it becomes like a loop, and that loops itself, you know, throughout 5 minutes of a track, and it becomes like a mantra, and there's this like spiritual aligning with the song itself. And maybe the song was originally written from a place of love and devotion for somebody, and it suddenly evolves towards the end of the song into something, you know, spiritual, like a plead, like a prayer. And it's
He's from the west.
He's from the west.
He's from West Bengal. Well, he was born there at least.
He's Bengali.
Yeah.
Wow. Coolness.
So yeah.
I got friends from that are Bengali.
Really?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It's
cool.
Let me just double check the things to do.
Things to do. That's really nice.
They have a lost city there, like Bengali. That's the official language there, and English as well. But yeah,
that's amazing. But yeah, there's a natural inclination to make melody, because in Hindi, the language is very sing-songy.
Yeah.
The inflection variates really up and down all the time.
Yes.
And even if it's not a question, the inflection might end up upwards in the phrasing, and there are very long breath phrases, so that just magnifies a natural melody, and Arijit really encapsulates that.
Yeah. It's also another great example of less is more. I'll pull that back.
No problem.
There.
Chromatic scale, there's nothing there.
It's so impressive. can't deny that. It doesn't matter where you're listening from or whatever. You felt that shit, dude.
Yeah.
Can we have a look at the lyrics really fast?
Yes,
please?
of course, we can.
Do you want to put them up in the screen or?
Mm-hmm.
Just sing.
Oh, don't spoil the next one.
Just sing.
The next one's
Indeed,
sick.
Just sing. I love this.
I do want to encourage everyone to join us on the
I look
Christmas
real weird.
Eve. Why?
Look in the camera. I look real weird.
Do want to encourage everyone to join us on the Christmas Eve podcast. For it will be one of the, I think it's the second to last podcast we'll do this year, where we'll be checking out sort of music that's festive from all around the world. I'm not sure, for example, in India, what type of, maybe if you guys do Christmas or if you don't, or what type of music you're listening this specific time of the year. But if you do know, do recommend it down below. But yeah, do tune in on Friday where we'll be checking out on Feature Friday podcast all different types of festive music from all around the world. I don't know what we're gonna be able to find, and also I think we're gonna take a trip down memory lane and we're gonna show you some pictures on what we used to do in Christmas, like because we used to tour a lot at that time. And yeah, it was just a bit of fun, and you know, you guys get to know us a bit better, and we get to know you too. I fucking love that song.
It's a great song. I just thought I'd put it in the background whilst you read the lyrics.
So the lyrics go like this: keep my good deeds in the boxes of the heart, and keep my greetings even in letters and telegrams. I have taken your darkness.
Sorry, my bad.
And my bright shining star is yours now.
Ah!
Oh my moon, oh my moon, oh my beloved moon, oh beloved.
Gosh.
That's what Mereya means. If I am not there in your gathering, there is no sadness, there is no sadness. Stories of ours, of our closeness, unless they are plenty. So many times I have turned my mornings into evenings, sitting in your courtyard. That is, I have so many times passed my time there. I am turning my path from your direction. I am sandal, leaving my fragrance with you, leaving my heart's desires under your pillow. This ascetic wraps the cotton cloth of an ascetic and leaves. I wonder what that word means. Do you mind looking that up?
Yeah, of course, no problem.
Was it perhaps
Ascetic
misspelled
is
or ascetic?
like,
Like acetato?
Yeah, I think it has something to do with that, but wait. Meaning. In English, because I don't know what it means.
Characterized by severe self-discipline and abstention from all forms of indulgence, typically for religious reasons.
Nice.
So he abstains himself from her loving.
Person who follows an ascetic.
Say how you pronounce it?
Ascetic.
Ascetic.
Thank you, Google. Wonderful. Right. I mean, what a beautiful freaking... Again, it's a short poem.
I love that song.
And he works in a sonnet. He works as a sonnet, right? So it's again, he becomes this like loop thoughting, kind of like it evolves from devotion into an absolute plead, and because it's repetitive, right? And in repetition becomes emphasis, especially when it's written in a music, becomes emphatic and becomes big. It's like the emotion grows with the repetition, and it never means the same that he was first sang. So as the chorus progresses and it finishes in a vocalization, it's more like an inner dialogue, like a plead for yourself, and then it becomes like a conversation with the universe. There's something bigger. There's something. Wow, what a song!
I love this piece. I think that might be one of my favorite pieces, and I think every time we hear anything that Arijit does, I end up saying always the same.
Yep. And he makes perfect sense, though. I think he is the magic himself. It's not so much of the composition, because he was working on a chromatic scale.
Yeah.
Nothing there was out of the ordinary.
I think he's not the original singer. I'm not too sure. From what I can remember, I don't think he is. Do let us know if you'd like us to check that out. I think it's obvious that we really enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
So let us know what you thought about it, and do tune in on this Friday for the Christmas podcast.
And
See you
happy
all then.
holidays,
Happy
everybody.
holidays.